Right. So for our homework assignment, I just wanted to be talking about this scenario athlete, um, and really just talking about a various amount of things. So I just wanna make it very easy and quick for y'all to understand. And here we go. So for our athlete, information athlete, is a 17-year-old male cross-country runner with a resting heart rate of 48 beats per minute, which really makes sense because he is a runner. Runners, they have really good healthy cardiovascular health, so just having that is obviously really good. For a what's it called? For his VO2 max, it is 75 milliliters or kilograms a minute, which we'll talk about later, as well as his lactic threshold. We'll also talk about later, which is at 70%. His estimated heart rate max, meaning his max beats per minute, is 220. So which is minus 17, which will get you just 155, because obviously he's 17 years old. But yeah. For the heart rate reserved, we have that listed as just the 203, which is his estimated HR max, or his heart rate max, minus 48, which was the resting heart rate. So that'll get you 155. So yeah. So we have this formula calculated, the heart rate formula. So we have that target heart rate, which is just the intensity times that heart rate plus the resting heart rate. So yeah. So for the long slow distance, right? The LSD. So really what that is talking about the long slow distance training and how it's designed to kind of build that athlete's aerobic like structure, like its base. So really that method improves that cardiovascular endurance, which increases that capillary density, which enhances the body's ability to use that fat as fuel. Like it's storage, because what it is just energy storage is what the fat is. So it's using that fat to really function efficiently. But okay, so since going back to the athlete, since the athlete is a cross-country runner, right, that long, slow distance is important because those races require that athlete to be sustained in that aerobic endurance. So to prescribe them for the type of training that is needed, you really need a longer duration of practice. So I would say a good 60 to maybe even 120 minutes, so an hour or 2 hours of training, which makes sense because it's a long distance. I don't think you're going to go anywhere with just training 30 minutes a day, because you're just training essentially for 5K, right? And even then, you're probably going to not get too much time in, and I just do not believe 30 minutes or anything below 60 seconds is good. I would say 60 seconds at least to 120 would be really good training wise. And for that intensity, since you know that probably like 60 to 70% of his VO2 max. So his VO2 max, which we have listed as 75 milliliters or kilograms a minute. So you're getting all that. So you'll probably do 75 or 60 to 70% of that VO2 max. And you really want your target heart rate max to be 70 to 80% of what it was. So 70 to 80% of the of the 203 beats per minute. So that's your estimated heart rate max. So we want about 70 to 80% of that. did I talk about the heart rate reserve? The heart rate reserve is 155 beats per minute. I'm not sure if I mentioned that before, but yes. Oh, it's funny we mentioned that because the next thing we really want to talk about is the heart rate reserved. You want to get a good 60 to 70% of that heart rate reserved, and then you want your RPE to be pretty light to moderate, right? Probably 11, 13 ish, I would say. So for calculations, like I said, what I was talking about, for the heart rate max, I said 70 to 80%. So I calculated that. So I got the 142 minus the 162 beats per minute. So remember going back above, what did we say? Oh, so we said we got the percentages, and then we calculated between that. So the 70% of his heart rate max minus the 80%. So you want that nice middle ground. So you want a target range from 142 to 162. You want to stay within there, that heart rate max, to really be beneficial in your athletic process or training process. And for that heart rate max, for that heart rate reserved, like I said, you want 60% of that. So it'll be 0.60 times, what did I say above, of the 155 heart rate reserved. So you want to multiply that plus the resting heart rate, which was 48. So that calculated there is 141 beats per minute. And really just the same thing with the 60 as well. So you really want to stay have the heart rate reserved 141, 157 range. For pace and tempo, really what that is just its performance near the athlete's athletic lactate threshold, or lactic threshold. I think that's how you say it. And what that is, it's that threshold below where you can stay good for a longer amount of time, because it's almost at that threshold, but not exactly. It's a little under. So you're really staying. But if it were to go under or over, your body would slowly burn out way faster than how it would feel under that lactic threshold. So really with that, you just want your body to kind of clear that lactic and maintain running faster for a longer duration. That's what any runner wants. They want a faster run time. They want to run faster for longer. Obviously, if your legs are giving out, if you have so much lactic, say built in your quads or something, and it's burning, so you're slowly going to slow down because of you going above that threshold of lactic. But if you can resist it, or not resist it, but have a lower lactic threshold, you're able to sprint longer, you're able to jog, or in this scenario, the athlete, the 17-year-old, is able to run a longer distance since his threshold is very low. So going back to his VO2 max, like I said, that's 70% of the VO2 max is that good, where that threshold kind of occurs. So the tempo runs should really be near or slightly above that intensity, slightly above. So training, prescription for that, a good 20, I would say 40 minutes of just continuous running, because you want to build that endurance, like I said, or comfortability with that. So a good 20 to 40 minutes of that continuous feel for that current speed. That's what you want. So you want your intensity to really be a 70, 80 VO2 max, an 80, 90 heart rate max, and a 70, 85 heart rate reserve with an RPE of 13, 15. And then how we calculated it, kind of the same thing as we did above. So we have with the heart rate max, you have the 80% or 90. So it'll be 162 and the 183 beats per minute like slot, which you're looking for to really, like I said, build that that pace and tempo for training for it. And then with the heart rate reserve, same process. So 70% of that we're at 157, and then 80% or 85% is that 108, or it's the 0.85 times your heart rate reserved plus the 48, which is your resting. So like 180. So for interval training, we have quite a bit. You really just want it incorporates like a high intensity work with like recovery periods. It really just improves like aerobic capacity while just allowing the athlete to perform multiple high quality like reps. So we'll talk about that. So for the structure for this, you really want that work duration to be like 3 to 5 minutes, 3 to 5 minutes of good pacing, and then that recovery duration to go like 2 to 3 minutes of like an easier jog. So you can stride for maybe 3 to 5 minutes and jog, stride, jog. So you have a good thing going on there, and your working and your rest ratio should be about 1-to-1. So we can do that for about like 4 to 6 times. So like I said, so when you work, you want to rest. Just keep that in mind. For high intensity interval training, like a HIIT workout, it's very intensive. It's very short recovery, which is meant, you want to maximize your aerobic and anaerobic capabilities while improving VO2 max, which I think is very important. So you're just able to, it's like a slower training than your more common interval trainings, but it's just performed at a higher intensity so that there's more workload and it tires you out way better or way more than it should, the regular interval training. But for that, the work duration is a good like 30 seconds to probably like 2 minutes. 3 minutes is pushing it. I would say 2 minutes. Recovery duration, remember it's high intensity, shorter periods. So good like 30 seconds to like 2 minutes rest and recovery, because you really don't want your heart to, like your heart rate to go down and spike up. You really want it to just kind of slowly, gradually, and still remain relatively high. And for sets, probably like 8 to 12 reps. So now we talking about a fartlek training. It really just means speed play. So think about when this cross-country runner is going on like a run. It's really good if he were just to train where you would train, or it's continuous running, obviously, which he's a cross-country runner, he should be able to do. But he would change the pace randomly. Say you go from a jog to almost a good like running stride, or like a little less than a running stride, because you do want to keep that distance. You don't want to tire yourself out too much. But yeah, so same thing. You really just want to improve that aerobic endurance as well as speed, like acceleration, and almost like a slight deceleration, but not like stopping. You're just changing your pace. So you go like fast and then like a jog, and fast and a jog. So a training prescription for this, I'd say probably good like 30 to 60 minutes, nothing too crazy. Intensity for that, obviously like in those jogging periods, like a 60% VO2 max, but probably good 90% when it's very fast paced. So we think of I think in class we're talking about when running around a track on those curves. You know how a track has those straightaways and has those curves at the bottom and top. So you can jog the curves, sprint down the lane and then jog, sprint and jog, sprint and jog. But the thing for this athlete, he just wants to continuously sprint and jog, and try not to stop. So yeah. But yeah, I really just wanted to talk about that real quick. Obviously, with the long, slow distance, or it really just develops that foundation and endurance. I talked about tempo. I talked about interval training, interval training, and the fartlek. Those key endurance, VO2 max helping, power helping, training exercises, very beneficial for this kid. And yes, thank you for listening.